At the start of this episode, we see that night in front of Xiaobao, she asked Xian to lift her in his arms so the child would believe them, which made him hesitate before trying. But he lost his balance and then gently steadied her, and for a moment their eyes met as time seemed to stop before they both looked away, blushing slightly. And the next morning, Xian complained angrily that she had used his bathroom because he disliked others touching his things. So she immediately apologized and arranged everything neatly again before cooking noodles for herself, whose aroma spread through the house, drawing Xiaobao into the kitchen, where they secretly shared noodles while suppressing laughter because Xian had banned noodles, sweets, and chips from the house. And the following day, when Xian told them to go to the museum, Xiaobao pouted, saying museums were boring. So Chan whispered that they would secretly go to the park instead, where they enjoyed a peaceful moment of freedom until sudden rain began, and Chan picked Xiaobao up and started running, only to suddenly see Xian standing in front of them, and standing with an umbrella with both worry and anger in his eyes. And as soon as he returns home, he bursts out saying, "I told you not to skip the museum. And on top of that, noodles." Then he strictly orders, "Gather all the sweets and chips and go to your room and think about where you went wrong," while Chan and Xiaobao sit there sadly. And Chan softly says, "It feels like the punishment should be for your dad, not us," which makes Xiaobao's eyes light up as he agrees. And that night, both of them quietly go into his room, where Xiaobao draws a mustache on his father's face with a marker, making Chan nervous as she reacts to what he is doing. But Xiaobao laughs and offers her the marker, asking her to do it too, and she hesitates. But just then, Xian turns and wakes up, which scares Chan, and she runs away. And the next day, Shen decides to take Xiaobao to her university, where there is an activity for mothers and children. And she smiles and gently explains, "There will be kids your age there, just try, and if you don't feel comfortable, we will come back right away. I will not force you." And Xiaobao nods slightly with nervous eyes, but Chan's warmth gives him reassurance. And coincidentally, they meet Ning there, who asks in surprise, "What are you doing here?" And Ning replies, he just came for some paperwork. And after a while, Shen explains that Xiaobao has PTSD and is afraid of people and finds it difficult to let anyone touch him or come close, and he does not even go to school, which makes her feel very sad for him. And Ning listens carefully and then suggests there is a school called Sharad Sharat, where teachers are specially trained to understand children's psychology, and it might be a better place for him, which brings a small spark of hope in Chan's eyes. And after returning home, she talks to Xian, explaining that the school is very good and all the teachers are trained in child psychology and can understand Xiaobao's condition, and she asks Xiaobao to show his father the school. But instead, Xiaobao shows him a picture of Chan sitting with Ning, which makes Xian's face turn cold as he accuses her of being with another man and reminds her that people know she is his wife, even if it is just for appearance, which leaves Chan shocked as she tries to explain. He is just a colleague, and he is misunderstanding. But Xian's voice stays cold as he says he does not trust that school and his son is not ready to be around others. And Chan loses her patience and says he is cutting him off from the world and it will only break him more and he needs to interact with other children to heal. But Xian responds that he is the father and knows what his son needs better, and Chan fires back that she is his doctor and knows what he truly needs. And silence fills the room as their eyes lock with a clash between a father's ego and a doctor's compassion. And finally, Chan says in a breaking voice that she can no longer work with him and asks him to end the contract. But he tells her to go to her room and that he will decide what happens next, while Chan picks up her bag and says she will not wait for any decision and is going back to her old house to find some peace. And Xian angrily tells her to consider it a one-week break and come back as it is, an order. But Chan looks at him and says, in his world, everything is an order, and then walks out, closing the door. And later that night in her old room, she feels a moment of relief, but even the empty walls seem to taunt her when suddenly a video call comes from Xiaobao, whose eyes are teary and voice trembling as he asks if she will come back. And Chan smiles softly and reassures him that she is there and tells him to sleep while she stays on the call until he falls asleep. He noticed sleep slowly settling over the child's eyelids, while on the other side of the screen, his mother's face felt like a lullaby. And meanwhile at the company, Bingo invited Rana and Rana to dinner, saying he just wanted to get to know her a little. But Rana coldly replied that she does not have dinner with strangers and walked away. And on the other side, Xiaobao suddenly ran away from home and went straight to Chan's house, leaving her stunned as soon as she opened the door, asking how he got there. And she immediately messaged Xian that his son was with her and safe. And after a while, Xian arrived with both worry and anger on his face, holding the contract, saying that if she breaks it, she will have to pay the price of the ring. And Chan calmly told him to fire her and hire another doctor because she can no longer continue this relationship. But he firmly said he will not hire anyone and his son will return home now yet. Xiaobao tightly held Chan's hand, saying he will not go and will stay here. And Chan gently requested to let him stay just for today. And after a deep breath, Xian agreed, saying only for today and the next day. Chan returned to the hospital where she was treating a boy named Hai and noticed that Hai's mother constantly blamed her husband and turned her son against him. So Chan called a staff meeting and explained that the boy's mother herself was going through deep psychological psychological trauma and needed treatment too. But at that moment, Ji's fiancé overheard this and twisted her words while telling Hai's mother that Dr. Chan called her crazy and said she needed a psychiatrist, which made Hai's mother furious, and she rushed to the hospital yelling at Chan, asking who she was to call her crazy, while Chan calmly clarified that she never called her crazy and only meant she needed help to heal her wounds. But the woman became more enraged and in anger pushed Chan down the stairs, and at that exact moment, Xian arrived and tried to catch her, but Chan fell and was immediately taken to the hospital, where Ji examined her and said she had injured her leg and needed at least 2 weeks of rest, and Xian angrily demanded another doctor. But Chan smiled and said Ji was the best orthopedic doctor in their hospital, which annoyed Xian, and he walked away. And when Ji was bandaging her leg, he told her she would need crutches. But just then, Xian entered and said she would not need crutches because he was there. And without hesitation, he lifted Chan into his arms in front of the entire hospital, leaving everyone shocked, while Chan lowered her eyes in embarrassment. And the next day, when she returned to the hospital, she saw Hai's mother holding a press conference in front of the media, openly defaming her by saying she treated her son for 6 months with no improvement and was an incompetent doctor. So Ning immediately took Chan away from there and brought her home, while the news spread across channels. And as soon as Xian heard this, he angrily summoned Ji and his fiancé and coldly warned that he could file a case against her for this scandal, and it would be better if she resigned immediately, or he would personally throw her out of the hospital. And when Ji tried to intervene, saying he had no right to fire her, Xian's eyes turned cold as he said he would handle everything in his own way. And then he went to Chan's house, where, as always, he was irritated seeing the condition of the place, and said it was not suitable for her, especially in her current state, and she could not live alone and must return to his house, while Chan refused. But Xian insisted that if anything happened to her, it would affect his son, and he would have to take legal action against her, leaving Chan with no choice but to agree. Xian's house, she is trying to change clothes with one arm in a cast, when the door suddenly opens and Xian sees her half-dressed, then immediately looks away and asks if she needs help. But Chan, embarrassed and annoyed, pushes him toward the door, telling him to go outside, and Xian smiles and leaves. And in the next scene at the supermarket, Chan picks up lots of snacks for Xiao Bao, while Xian frowns and says it is all junk food, but Chan smiles and replies that they are kids and sometimes they need these little joys and promises. She will not give it every day. And at night, Chan goes to Xian's study to get something, where she suddenly notices some photos of a girl always taken from behind, with her face never shown, which makes her pause. But then Xiao Bao calls her to come draw with him, and when Xian returns, he sees his son coloring on Chan's cast and is about to say something, but seeing Xiao Bao's innocent face, he smiles and joins them with a marker, as the laughter of all three fills the room. And that same evening, Xian notices Chan putting some powder in her hair and asks what she is doing, and she shyly says her hair has become too oily, and with her arm in a cast, she cannot wash it properly. So without saying anything, Xian moves her wheelchair to the sink and gently starts washing her hair with care, as if handling something precious, making Chan's heart race, though she says nothing. And later, Xian returns to his study and again looks at those photos of the girl from behind, connected to a deep memory from his past, as he recalls the incident when he had only seen a girl's silhouette and never her face. And the next day, Xian's lawyer comes to meet Chan and informs her that a case has been filed against Hai's mother for pushing her and causing injury, but Chan immediately refuses, saying she does not want to punish her, and angrily goes to Xian's office, asking why he filed the case. And Xian coldly replies that someone's mistake cannot be ignored. So Chan leaves in anger, and seeing him swimming, she records a video on her phone and threatens that if he does not withdraw the case, she will show the video to everyone, but Xian just laughs. This is where the episode comes to an end, and to watch the next episode, make sure to subscribe to the channel and do not forget to press the bell icon.